Now joined by Stony Brook head coach Chuck Priore and offensive lineman Timon Parris. Thank you so much for joining us. Coach, I'll start with you. Off to such an amazing start in CAA a season ago. You started 4-0, couldn't keep that momentum going the rest of the year. How can you kind of regain that great start that the football team had going into this year?
Well, certainly use that as a mechanism of motivation. We had our opportunities and we weren't able to accomplish it. So we don't want to look backwards, but we want to utilize that as we were 4-0. And we just got to now understand how to develop a consistency and continue a brand. But that's CAA football. If you let your guard down, you're going to lose games.
Can you pinpoint anything looking back at the Final Four versus the first 4 games of the year where maybe some things changed or specifically got away from you?
Well, teams are good and they prepare.
Right.
So I think you give the other team the credit first. Our quarterback did get hurt towards the end of the year and didn't play the last 2 games, and so that was definitely a factor in what goes on. And then after that, they were close games, and we just didn't figure out how to win those games.
Timon, some of the struggles you guys had offensively last year, what have you guys worked on this offseason maybe to fix some of those things and some of the expectations going into this year?
Well, basically, me and the offensive line, we would get together and we'd talk about issues that we were having, and basically we worked on communication and just being together as a unit.
Blocking for a guy like Stacy Bedell, what is that like?
Well, you got to block a guy fast because Stacy likes to get out and go. So you try to just get on your guy quick and just let him do the rest.
Outside of Stacy and some of the guys you just spoke of on the offensive line, who are some of the players you're looking around on offense to maybe have an explosive season?
To have an explosive season, I expect our center, Joe DeTore, to have a big season. You know, he's starting for the first time. I know he's really excited, and I feel like he's going to show people that he's really a solid player.
You got the big guy with us on the offensive side of things, but you got some big guys on the defensive side as well. Now, Stony Brook has been a top 3 defense in the FCS each of the last 3 seasons, which is just incredible when you think about the consistency year in, year out with new players coming in. How have you been able to establish such a strong defense year in and year out?
Well, I think first is a belief in your system. And a belief in playing the game physical. You know, our coaching staff, and I'm an offensive guy, so the credit goes to our defensive staff. Lyle Hempel, who just moved on to Wake Forest, but you know, we promoted within. We're going to keep the same schematics going, but it's just a belief in what you're doing, and coaches that prepare our kids well.
Who will you look to lead that defensive unit this year?
Well, you know, we've got 5 returning starters in the secondary. So Tyrese Beverett, who's here with us today, is who I think is a tremendous football player. He's going to be a 2-year captain. Was a captain as a redshirt junior and as a senior. I think he's a guy that we point to create big plays for us.
Big plays, big guys. Let's go back to the offense. What does Timon do for your offense scheme and with his ability to block?
Well, I think, you know, once again, we've had a consistent player at the left tackle position for 3 years, which is credit to him. You know, this is a former walk-on who earned a scholarship. So. And now hopefully, you know, he's going to have a great year and have a chance to continue his career and maybe be the guy that speaks up there a few years from now.
That's right.
But he's a physical player, dominating player at our level, and I think he can certainly set the tone. But more importantly, a lot of our guys learn their fundamentals and techniques. He's a technician. So they get a chance to look at him and emulate what he does.
Looking at your guys' schedule, Timon, you open up at South Florida, FBS opponent. You know, you've been in some of these FBS games. One, what is it like for a player and how do you prepare for them, and how excited are you to be able to open up against another FBS opponent?
Well, you treat all the games the same. Just because they're FBS school don't make them no different from a different school. Like going into the game, just excited, just happy to be able to play in the Buccaneer Stadium. It's going to be a fun, exciting game.
CAA is such a challenging league week in and week out. How difficult is it to prepare yourself mentally to go through 8 games of a season where every week you're going to be going up a team that might be in the top 25?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's got to be done in the off season. I mean, I think you prepare your kids for that in the off season, the weight room and the challenges you do when you win a program, and the pressure you put on them in those situations hopefully prepares you. And then, you know, this year's team's got 20 seniors.
Wow.
And I think, you know, last year we had 7, this year we have 20, and we look for their leadership on a week-to-week basis because, you know, as you articulated, you're not getting a day off in the CAA.
And we wish you the best of luck in CAA competition this season. We appreciate you being with us. And I think earlier we got the wide shot. Can we take a look at Timon's red and black Nikes with the red and black Nike shirt? Very impressive stuff. If you're playing as well as you're dressing, then Stony Brook's going to have a pretty good season. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on CAA Football Media Day Live. We're going to